So here's the silicone hose, Dynacraft hose that Kenworth carries. And you can see on one end it's been cut and not very well. So it doesn't seem to have been leaking from the end. This is the end that was on the heater core. Doesn't seem to be leaking from that end, but check this out. I put that valve on, or that clamp on, and those C-clamps, those screw clamps just ate through that hose right there. Look at that. I mean, can you see that? Let's see. See? Yeah. So, that hose is bad. I mean, it's good maybe in a pinch. So, always keep your extra hoses like this, so that way if you have a problem, you can get to it. So, then the other two pieces that I pulled off of 5/8 hose were this piece here, and you can see that on the end near the heater core, I had to cut it off because it wouldn't come off, and it was pretty stuck on there. But you can see it's kind of starting to bulge right here, and then right here. There were two clamps on here, so somebody there was the regular the factory clamp here, the spring-loaded clamp, and then there was a screw clamp here. You could see, hopefully you could see that. That went around right here. And then this is the screw clamp that I put on the other end. And so it was holding on this end pretty well, but not well enough. And it's just starting to, you can kind of feel it. It looks like good hose. I mean, you know, it says, you can still read what it says on the side and everything. It just, I don't think it's any good. And then there was another shorter piece that I pulled off, and obviously this was leaking because you could see, you know, it was leaking from around there. So that's pretty bad hose. And this had C-clamps on both ends. Not C-clamps, screw clamps on both ends. So I guess you could see that right there. And I think this end was the end that I had the valve attached to. And then this, of course, is the end that was on a pipe that I didn't realize it was leaking, because I mean that's leaking from the pipe that it was connected to. So so that was where that leak was coming from. So I put all new hose on, all new 5/8 hose on in those areas. I got a little bit left. I put the other hose on, but just, you know, this is part of, you know, when they say pre-trip, and this is part of the stuff you need to think about if you're going to own your own truck. You know, this is all that stuff that, like, you know, I'm sitting here, you know, this is my car here, but then there's my Suburban here, and then down there is my 84 van, you know, and old cars, when you get to the point where, you know, these radiator hoses, they don't last that long. And then you talk about, you know, on the truck or whatever, it probably lasts, you know, a radiator hose on that will probably last 10 years, you know, and this thing's 8 years old. So, and this stuff's been replaced before, so that makes complete sense. But, you know, the thing is, that only has probably 250,000 miles on it. The van down there has 400,000 miles on it, and I've done radiator hoses on it. The Kenworth has 700,000 miles on it, so that's quite a lot. So you're probably looking at having to replace radiator hoses on, you know, every 250,000 miles or something like that. Don't quote me on that. It could be wrong. You know, I don't know when all this stuff was done. I really honestly think the hose that I pulled off, the big hose that I pulled off today, was probably never done. But it could have been. So, but you've got a lot of, like, hot and cold with the radiator fluid going through there, heating the hose up and cooling and heating and cooling and heating. And so that's a lot of wear and tear over 250,000 miles with these hoses. So you kind of have to think about that stuff when you decide that you're going to buy your own truck, because as you can see, it isn't somebody else that's doing it, it's me doing it. So, and that's how you save money, because if I'd had somebody else do this, it probably would have cost me $1,000. So that's pretty much it for right now. I'm going to get this transfer pump going. Let me see if I can pull that up here so you guys can see it. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see it. No, here, I'll switch it over here. So, all right, transfer pump. So it's a battery-powered transfer pump, and this black end here goes in the thing, and then this hose here goes up into the radiator. And so hopefully that's going to work pretty well. So we'll find out, because I'm about to try it. Alright, so we got it all together. The truck is running. Sitting here watching it. See if I see anything leaking. I don't know. I'm gonna give it some time and see what happens. Alright, so decided the only real way to test to see whether or not it's leaking is to drive the truck. So I'm going to take it on a little test run. So you guys can see. I don't know if you can see that or not, but right there, 700,599. That's right, she made it to 700,000 miles. So we're going to take it on I'm going to take it on a little test run here and see how she does. See whether or not it leaks under pressure, because sometimes what happens is you start moving down the highway and the truck gets up to pressure like 1500 RPM or whatever, and that puts more pressure on the coolant system. And so when that happens, that's when you're going to kind of have your leaks. And I don't know if I told you this or not, but Laredo left me on the side of the road about 2 weeks ago, right after I put those valves in. And I think what happened was I added a little too much coolant after I put those valves in. And so it ended up finding a place where it was almost worn through on a hose, which is underneath my feet on the left-hand side here. And so I ended up on the side of the road having to replace that myself. And got that done and everything, but it was a little aggravating. So sometimes under pressure it leaks a little bit. It leaks faster, and then not under pressure, because at the hose I had to rev the engine up to find the leak, because it was all over the side over here, and I put coolant in, and I ended up starting the truck and bringing the engine up to like 1500 RPM to see whether or not, you know, it was going to leak over here, and it just started spewing like coolant, and that was how I found it and everything. So got it replaced on the side of the road. It took like 4 hours. Today was I think I got out here like 11, and got the hose off, the big hose off at like 11:30, and then I ran around and got all my parts, and I think I got back here around 3. So I had to go get batteries for that little pump thing, which worked great, by the way. I needed 2 hands in order to hold the bucket up and actually operate the thing. Otherwise, I would have taken video of it. But it worked great. Glad I bought it. It was like $15.99 at Northern Tool. Go get one. 2D batteries, beautiful. So anyway, the other thing I want to tell you guys to get, so that saved me yesterday, is one of these little jump boxes. Okay, so I bought this little jump box about 3 or 4 months ago, maybe longer, maybe 6 months ago, because I came home one day and my car was dead. Well, last night I came home and my car was dead too. And the reason it was dead at that time was because I had accidentally left the glove box open. So I was an idiot and left the glove box open, and that was what ended up causing the problem with it being dead. So I had that little jump box up there. It had been charging for like 2 weeks or for months on end, and I hooked it right up to the car, and the car started right off. So if you guys get a chance, get one of those things. They're expensive, but if you guys are gone for a long period of time away from your truck, it's probably a good idea. Anyway, we're gonna go test it, and then when we get back, we will we'll take a look under the hood again and see what we see. So, did I latch the hood? I think I did. Oh, I'll tell you, one of the best things I ever did for my truck was get it its own spot. Seriously. So I have been able to get in here and do the things I need to do. I mean, look at this. I'm gonna go see my brother at Walmart, wash my hands. That's what I'm gonna do next after I get done dropping this off, after I inspect it. But you know, getting the truck its own spot and having it, you know, under a cover so that it's protected from the weather and everything, that just is it sets my mind at ease. Like, I don't worry about, you know, it being here. I know that it's safe, you know. And matter of fact, where it's parked, it's so safe. I keep leaving shit unlocked, and I keep forgetting about it. I left the Caprice unlocked, but I left the thing open too, you know, the glove box open too, so it's kind of my fault. But you know, it's a real relief to have this place where, you know, it's you know, hidden, and it's, you know, got a cover that it sits on or sits under and everything, and I'm very glad that, you know, I decided to invest in a storage place for it. So, but anyway, so we're gonna pull in here, and we'll pop the hood and take a look and see what we find, if there's any leaks or anything that we need to worry about. I'm hoping not, so we'll see. Alright, so I'm not seeing anything from over here. I'm not really seeing anything from right here, but I filled that up before we left, and we've only driven about 20 miles, so it's leaking from somewhere. Okay, I lit up for half. Alright, so we're in like beautiful downtown Waxahachie, because that's better. And I want you guys to see this. There's a clock tower up there. It's one of my favorite places to be. Anyway, I pulled the so I went ahead and I pulled the hood open, and as you guys saw, it ate a lot of coolant. So I started calling around trying to ask people, like, you know, I couldn't find any reason for why it had done that. I revved the engine up to 1500 RPM. I'm not seeing any like white smoke coming out of the exhaust. The oil looks fine. There's no water in the oil. You know, otherwise it's perfect. So I started calling around and asking people, and they think it's just air. So they're even though I started it sucked it down, and I put more in, and there's probably some air left in the radiator or in the engine or something, and that's caused the low coolant, the way it looks. So I'm on my way to see my brother in Waxahachie, the Walmart Waxahachie again, and gonna wash my hands, go to the bathroom, get some coolant, go back and try again, and we'll see what happens. But I think that's probably what it is. It's just a mirror, because I'm not seeing anything. I don't see anything on the ground. I'm not seeing anything on the back of the engine. I'm not seeing anything on the front of the engine. I'm not seeing anything, and I'm not smelling anything either. I'm not smelling any coolant or anything. So, we'll go back, try again. Thus is the life of an owner-operator. Hashtag this is trucking. Woo doggy. Let me tell you, I am tired, and it's just been a long day. And check this out. I got these like flashlights. Here's one here. There you go. For like $10 at Walmart. It was I'm gonna show you these. So it was these right here. There you go. And it was like $10 for 6. So I got 2 pin lights. I got 2 of these here, and then I got 2 that go on your head. Here's a pin light. You know. So anyway, that's a pretty good deal. Anyway, it's been a long day, and I am tired and ready to go home, and I can go home because I am done with the truck today. So basically what happened at this point was I got everything kind of taken care of, and got all the hoses connected and everything. There are some other leaks here and there, but they're really tiny, and they're not so bad that I got to worry about them right now. I don't know that one major hose fixed my problem. It still seems to be leaking a little bit right around the bottom of the water pump, but where the valves are is now fixed. So it's good enough. Basically, I give it a little longer and it'll probably seal up. Now I'll have to go get some sealant or something and put it on there. But anyway, the gallon of coolant that disappeared when I drove it earlier was nothing but air. So checked it, went and got a gallon or 2 of coolant, came back, put a gallon in, drove it from Waxahachie down to Italy, Texas. That's how we call it. That's what we say. And then drove it back, and when I got here, I opened the hood and checked it, and the coolant level had not dropped at all. So that's that. It is more or less at this point fixed. I'm going to run it for a little while and see if that one hose doesn't seal up, and if it doesn't, then I'll try to figure out something as far as sealing that hose up is concerned. I could say I'm not too impressed with these silicone hoses that Kenworth has, because I replaced two of those silicone hoses. Well, no, one silicone hose a day, one regular hose. And I guess the silicone hoses are supposed to last longer or something like that. I'll call Kenworth and ask. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I am done for the day. It is Friday evening. I don't have anything to do until Monday. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my weekend, my Easter weekend here. And hope you guys do the same. You know the drill. Keep the shiny side up. See you down the road.